The world is changed.
I feel it in the water. I feel it in the earth. I smell it in the air.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, it is Dave Johnson time.
Hi there. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions to go over. This is the hottest news cycle I think we've had probably in the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's just been every minute something going on. But first, let's have you introduce yourself to those who do not know who you are and how to get a hold of you, and what do you do on your channel, and is there anything good stuff coming up on your channel?
Yeah, well, it's a good question what I do, because I kind of do a bunch of different things. I do readings and future predictions and all that clairvoyant stuff. I also channel, and there's a little bit of a difference between those two. Channeling might be a little bit more like about your life's purpose, and it's not better or worse. It's just a little bit different, whereas future predictions are a little bit more like, should I sell the car? Or I want to speak to somebody who's passed. I also do shamanic journeys. I also teach people how to channel. And I also do past life regressions, which I call healing hypnosis. So there's some people get quite confused about that. Sometimes I even get a little bit confused about that. One week to the next, it seems I'm doing some totally different things. As you know, in this job, we have to constantly remake ourselves because we're very much on the cutting edge of what's happening. I'm going to say that for the viewers too. And I just put out a video on Clarence Thomas on my Moonride channel, but I also have a new channel, and it's called Pyramid 4. And forgive me if it's hard to find. It seems to be difficult to place yourself out there when you're beginning and for people to find you, but it's Pyramid 4. Maybe you put in Pyramid 4 Dave Johnson, or if you look at my most recent videos, you can find, I'll put a link to Pyramid 4, and that's just straight up trance channeling. So it is spirit direct. A lot of it's done with a group of other channelers, but they've pared it down so you just see me. So check out the latest one. It's really, really profound stuff. It's kind of, I'm going to say further out than I ever went before. So much is happening around us, so much is changing. And I think that's why people are interested in our videos, is because things are changing so rapidly in the logical, rational ways that we used to understand things. It's not quite enough anymore. I think we got to go to our hearts, our intuition a little bit. And I know there's a risk there because you could always be wrong, but it is a divine feminine sort of experience that, I'm sort of getting for the first time as a man. Let's just say that. And, as we've told a million times, it's not just women who get the divine feminine, and it's not just men who get the divine masculine. It's a more feeling, idea, spirit, existence, energy.
I always said this from the get-go when we were talking about like either gay, transgender, him, her, and all of the the pronouns that they have literally been using just to explain what's happening inside of them. They're just conversating with us, right? I said I think we're all going to probably come all the way full circle and just say there is no gender.
Yeah.
There is no gender. There's people who can have children who cannot, and there's people who can fertilize children, and there's ones who cannot. But I think gender is going to just be done and over with, and we're going to stop, and everybody can dress exactly the way they want. They can put makeup on, or if they don't, they want long hair, they can have long hair. It doesn't matter, and everything's just gonna mesh. I really feel that that's our future.
Yeah. Well, and the Scottish guys who wear kilts, are they feminine? Watch them throw logs around. It's just so irrelevant what you are wearing. And hey, this is America. It's none of my business. If
Yeah.
that's what you want to do, I just don't care. I am too interested in so many other things. I'm sure your viewers are just so much interested in other things about what somebody else is doing. Who cares?
Who cares? I agree.
I'm
Who
busy. I don't
cares?
have time for
I know.
that.
I find it thrilling to find a man who is willing to walk out and have confidence in makeup or whatever he is wearing, pink, blue, red, it doesn't matter, you know, what color. I mean, they've stifled us so much that we couldn't even, the men can't even wear pink, you know what I mean? It's just crazy.
And I have a kilt. And let me tell you, on those occasions where I've worn the kilt, someone always checks.
Oh.
Someone always goes, oh, I dropped my change. It's not always a man, not always a woman, but somebody always checks to see if I'm wearing underwear every single time. And
Well, do
it just,
you?
no, of course
No, of
not.
course not.
Of course I wouldn't do that. But it's funny because there is actually very female experiences that I'll be at the party and I'm like, oh, I have to cross my legs. Oh dear. And I'm like, oh yeah, women must experience this all the time. I think every man should have this experience of the guilt because you have to be careful.
It can get squishy.
Yes. Yeah. It could be very embarrassing.
Yes, yes. Very, very, very embarrassing. All right. Well, we have some questions. Okay.
All right.
And on my channel, like I've said everybody before, I'm not putting out as many videos is because I have limited, access to my basement and all that. But anyways, it'll all get better. Just hang in there, everyone. It'll get better. I'll start putting a whole bunch of videos out again. You'll get sick of me. So, but we have some exciting stuff. So here's the one thing. There's news that just broke, and I was just reading it to you, where it says the Capitol building CCTV feeds show that the Rep Gomert, Rep Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Gozart, Briggs were all involved in giving reconnaissance tours groups on the 5th. These were all on video camera that they were doing that.
Yeah. And just note, even if they weren't coordinating with the January 6th people, it was illegal every time because the building was shut down because of COVID. They were not supposed to lead those groups there.
No.
And if they did, they broke the rules.
They did.
Senate rules.
They had some sort of rule that you could take like your family members and some close friends, right? Because they were senators and all that and a special thing. And they just all got, sworn in and all that good stuff. But not the groups, and the people that were with them were not family and they were not close friends. And so you're right. What they were doing was absolutely wrong in doing that. And that's probably what kept them on that CCTV so noticeable. I'm like, oh, there's another group. There's another one. There's an insurrectionist that got arrested. There's another one that got arrested.
Oh, and they're insurrectionists among them.
Exactly.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's exciting. I'm going to look forward to reading on that.
Yeah, so that's exactly what you're going to read on. I'm going to give you the leeway to however you want to, whatever direction you want to go. But yeah, I really want to kind of see what's about that. So,
okay, well, feel free to ask direct questions about that. My first question is, did they coordinate with the January 6th people?
Yeah, let's start there.
Evidence. Yeah,
they have some of the January 6th people who were arrested that were in those groups.
Oh, which means they could testify. Okay, so let's see. Because even as you were speaking about it, I saw these kind of weird. One thing that I want to notice is all of these incidents are building a case. It's like a sort of mountain where things are connected and they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to prove something. And imagine a bunch of like sort of half circles piled on one another to form this sort of hill. So, and those little circle things are kind of connected. So like one lights up and connects to another, which lights up. So really the question, Spirit, is, did they coordinate it? So I'm seeing Lauren Boebert nodding her head, looking shifty, looking back and forth, like, don't tell anybody. I'm seeing Gomer slam his hand on the table. No, how dare you? I think that they did coordinate this. You notice it's all of the ultra conservative MAGA people that just by strange coincidence happen to give tours on this particular day. I'm sorry, but that is just, it's not a conspiracy theory to think, huh? Yeah, but let's see. I mean, the real question is, can we prove it? Okay, Lauren Boebert has a gold bracelet. Oh, which she's taking off and throwing, like, no, it's not me. But one thing I find interesting, Boebert is pointing a finger. So I'm wondering if they're going to start throwing each other under the bus. So Boebert points to Gossar. Gossar becomes angry. And he's starting to fight back with her. So it's creating infights among those MAGA senators because they're starting to get scared. And it's like Mean Girls. You always knew Marjorie Taylor Greene was a mean girl, right? Well, now she's teamed up with Lauren Boebert, the other mean girl, and of course they both want to be the prom queen. They both want to be the princess because that's what they're really about. So now they're fighting each other. So now it's like watching Heathers. It's just like the cool kids are starting to fight with each other. So let's ask in a different way. Will we be able to see legally this connection? There is at least one major connection. One of those people, there is clear evidence, right? And keep in mind, all we need is one, because once we see one, dominoes will start to fall. One person is not going to want to go to jail.
Can you see which one's the strongest of the evidence?
Which one is it? So Spirit, which is the strongest? MTG, and the message I get? It's because she's the stupidest. She's just dumb. And so these people, they think they know everything. They think they're in charge. They're really hacks. They don't have much political background. They're not lawyers. So they haven't gone through the idea of evidence. And I'll even ask, what's the evidence? She blabbed. She bragged about this to too many people. Someone has a conscience. Someone who was somewhat connected, knows what MTG did, has evidence. And they've had a change of heart. Like they were a MTG supporter or a Trump supporter, but January 6th changed their heart. I think it's a person of color, and I think it's a woman. And they're like, no, like this is too much. This is going too far. Okay, maybe I am anti-choice. Maybe I'm this, but I'm not a revolutionary against the United States. And should I say a terrorist? Because that's what they are. So anything else about MTG was the leader of this process. She's the one who got them into this mess. So there's another thing. Don't underestimate the infighting that is going on as they frantically call each other and say, you're going to shut up about this, right? But MTG is the arrogant one. She has no shame that she has done this. She's not necessarily able or desirous of hiding what she did because she is so arrogant.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And I see Briggs also, kind of her sidekick.
Uh-huh.
Briggs seems to be in my mind right now. I keep on having Briggs in my mind right now. So
yeah.
Yeah, the fact that this is breaking news, fact that it has made it to us means that they have a lot more evidence than we know about. Because once it gets to the public, that layer of information, that's a leak, right? At that point in time. And then a purpose leak.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to shift to the Tennessee lawmakers. Okay, so the Tennessee, we've had this big old thing, and I know you're in Australia, but we have enjoyed an up and down thing going on with Tennessee. You know, we call it the Tennessee Three now. And the Tennessee Three, of course, sided with the protesters because there was a gun violence. There was in a school, a religious school. Children got killed, and and all that. Okay, so then all these Gen Z kids descended on the Capitol, which they were all shocked. Yeah, it's they're still there. I mean, they're still at it. So, anyways, then these three lawmakers, everybody knows the story. They went out of bounds they started wanting to protest or wanted to join them in that, and they didn't like that. The Republicans didn't like that, so they had two Joneses, not Joneses, Jameses, I think it is. Justins, there it is. Thank you. Yeah. Two Justins, and then the white girl, right? And so the Justins got kicked out, and the white girls got saved. However, there is a leaked audio which I'm going to play right here.
As Tennessee House Speaker Cameron Sexton might as well just go ahead and resign, because it's getting worse and worse for the Tennessee State House Republicans by the day. So yesterday, a group of Democrats got together and wrote the Justice Department asking them to investigate the expulsions of Justin Jones and Justin Pearson. Now there's some leaked audio of the Tennessee House Republican caucus meeting where they were infighting about the Tennessee Three. They were upset with Representative Barrett because he did not vote to expel. He was the only one that didn't vote to expel Representative Gloria Johnson. Before the expulsion hearing, they had already worked it out that all of them were going to vote to expel all three of them, and now they're upset because Barrett didn't do what he said he was going to do. They're upset because the two black members was expelled, and that makes them seem racist, and they're not racist. They don't want to see Representative Jones back in the House chamber.
Please forgive me if my comments are not going to talk as Christ-like. I think now, more than ever, everyone should recognize that Democrats are not our friends. I listened for the last 3 days to Democrats, Sam McKenzie, Chisholm, Parkinson, trash us as racist. I've never had anybody call me a racist. And for the last 3 days, all I have heard from them is how this is the most racist place. One of these white supremacists. There's 75 of us. Let them call their name of the names they're going to call. Then we need to move forward. We need to pass the gun bill. We need to pass the pronoun bill, wherever Mark is. Man, we do not slow down because of their trash. I feel like we were hung out to dry by a couple of members. And Jody, I'm just going to say it here because you signed the letter. You straight up came to me and said you were 100% where I was. And you went on the House floor and you did the opposite. Man, we brought the racism into it because you didn't stay with us. But I need to know why you flipped your vote at the last minute.
I haven't lied to anybody, not one time. It pisses me off to suggest that I have. And I walked into that room to vote to expel all three of them, just like all the others. And the letter that I sent to the speaker, it says exactly what it says. Throw the book at it. Everything you've got. It doesn't say expulsion. It's not in there. But it doesn't matter. I was ready. But hold on. I was ready. I was walked into that room ready to vote before we ever started on Jones. I got a list of questions from Johnny Garrett. Johnny says, you're on the list that the speaker has to ask questions. Sat there through Jones, made notes. I went to Johnny and said, Johnny, can I go off script? Johnny says, yeah, go for it. The speaker never called on me. We voted. I hit the green vote because that's what I'm there for. Then we get into the floor again, and immediately the questions start coming up about the resolution. I know what she did. I know what she did broke the rules. And I know that she deserves to be expelled. We got to do it right. And that wasn't right. While this is going on, Reader came to my desk and said, hey, you think we're doing good? I said, no. We haven't established the case. Gino's had 2 cracks at her, and the only thing he's established is that she stood at the well. That's it. It didn't fix any of the problems with the resolution. He didn't establish that she'd been here 10 years or 12 years and knew the rules better than the others did. Why were we still in session? Because we're in between bills. Why did you get gavelled out of order? Because the speaker had to get order. It was disorderly conduct and caused chaos in this whole place. That line of questioning is exactly what I told the leader I needed to ask, because we don't have it right now. He didn't sit there and say, you need to vote yes anyway. He didn't quit my vote. He walked off. He didn't go to the speaker until the speaker called on me. So if you're all going to come all at me and single me out, and only 3 of y'all called me this weekend to check on me, I'm going to defend myself. I told leadership what was going on. I told them I had problems. I had questions. I had a plan to fix it. When the question got called, I went to Johnny. I said, John, do we have the votes? He said, well, nobody else changes their vote. We should be fine. Why are you not going to vote yes? And I explained it. And I went back to my desk. And I sat there and had my internal debate on what to do. Then the bell rings. I'm concerned that I'm going to vote yes on a resolution that I know is wrong. We didn't establish that she did all that other stuff. All we established is she walked from there to there. As much as I hate to give John Ray any credit for anything, the smartest thing he said the whole season I've been up here. Darren Jernigan in the back of the room says, we can't vote on a resolution that's poorly drafted. And he's right. It's more that we were screwing it up and put my name on something that I knew that was going to be in the annals of history as being wrong. No different than some Democrat is going to be on a jury for Donald Trump and vote to convict him even though they know that the vote is indictment. This resolution's got copied and pasted. All they changed was their names. She didn't do the things that were in the resolution.
I said, oh great, Mr. Speaker, have you on the list? You said yes. Did I walk away your desk, never dreaming that you were going to know? I just thought you had some other questions that were going to build the case. And I didn't mean to walk off without giving additional information. I didn't take it that you were throwing rocks at Daniel at that time, but I knew you had some questions. I mean, to sign a letter and then for the other 65 of us to all think it's the right thing, I get that you feel strong enough. I mean, at this point, do you feel strong that you did the right thing, or is there any party that feels bad about that the rest of us got hung out and dry?
1,000% I did the right thing. I went back and watched it again. I watched the video. Bottom line is you went into that chamber, we had a slim vote count. You went into that chamber, you were a yes. And you straight up asked me, are you 100% Ryan? And I said, I'm all 3 expelling no matter what. You said we're in the same spot. It hung us out to dry. 1 vote. And if Terry was here, I'd do the same thing to him.
We had the jury already. This obviously wasn't a trial. But I knew every single one of your vote counts. I knew that we did not have to convince you all. When you came up to me about 2 minutes left of Gloria's final closing and said we didn't do it, I was shocked. In my humble opinion, her, by moving from her desk to the well without decision, without being recognized, was enough for me to figure out how I was going to get off expulsion. So I was taken back. I was also taken back that you wanted to ask me questions because that would have made a difference. It's going to take some time for all of us to digest your reasoning to Pearson. I wanted to tell him protesting from the middle of the well is a one-way conversation. No legislation in the history of the world has ever been passed under protest. It's always a two-way conversation. And that's been lost. And they reduced each and every one of us, including each and every one of our constituents, to sometimes a simple protest. And so that to me was paramount of what all 3 of them did by virtue of that simple walk from Gloria's desk to the middle of the well without that permission, really regardless of what the resolutions did say. I think we do understand how important we all are when a hot vote is not like it was and then you change. Surprise is it's a difficult thing to deal with. There's going to have to be, I think, some time before there's probably some trust reestablished. If I would have known that I had to convince you all, I think Gino, I think Farmer, I think others that we thought about that process would have been handled a whole lot differently. That's where the element of surprise has got to be removed. Because that to us surprised me. That all of a sudden we had to convince the members after we had asked them so much where they were on this.
I've taken positions up here against leadership. If you believe Gloria's resolution was wrong, you have the right to file an amendment and go talk to leadership. I think the problem I'm having is if we don't stick together, if you don't believe we're at war for our republic, with all love and respect to you, you need a different job. The left wants Tennessee so bad because if they get us, the Southeast falls, and it's game over for the republic. This is not a neighborhood social gathering. We are fighting for the republic of our country right now. And the world is staring at us. Are we going to stand our ground? I've gotten multiple phone calls from other representatives going, we sure hope you guys stand up. Because maybe you'll give us the courage to stand up and push back against what's going to destroy our republic. You should have told leadership ahead of time if you had a doubt. By God, when you change your mind, you should have been screaming in the speaker's ear going, I'm a no-vote, sir. How does that affect your vote? If Brian Terry was standing here, I would be telling Brian Terry, you should have went to the speaker and said, I'm changing my vote. And if it put us at 65, somebody would have taken you, behind the dais and explain to you why this is important. But it would have given us the opportunity to not throw the rest of us under the bus. I've been called a racist, a misogynist, a white supremacist more in the last 2 months of my life than I had my entire life. By golly, I'm biting my tongue. But I'm telling you, Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, these days are very thin right now. And I'm going to have to swallow this to see Mr. Jones back up here walking these hallowed halls that the greats of Tennessee stood in and watched them disrespect this state that I chose to move to. And by golly, it's got to stop. I'm sorry for getting angry here. My father was D-Day +4, and he fought for this freaking country, and many of his friends died. You got to do what's right. Even if you think it might be wrong, you got to do what's right. And you got to protect this freaking republic here in Tennessee, or you know what? Let's all go to hell home. I'm getting freaking gray hair sitting here listening to this bullshit. I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm getting sick of this. Do the right thing for the people of Tennessee, and we'll come out smelling like a rose. Fight for the people of Tennessee.
So anyways, now that you're back, all of that audio. So what we want to do with you is I want to know the fallout, because what the Tennessee Republicans have done to these lawmakers is give them a megaphone.
Yep.
They have given them a megaphone, and they are public around the world. This was noticed. So everybody now is paying attention to each Justin and, of course, her, but each one of them talking and what they're saying. And they're pretty much they have a megaphone and the confidence to just spout what they want to spout now and call the racists out and all of that and the bigotry. So anyways, so I want you to kind of go in and calmly kind of go see how this is going to shift for Tennessee's Republicans, because right now there's like a handful of Democrats and all of the rest of them are like 75% of them are Republicans. I mean, it was going to take a lot to start chipping away at that stronghold. See how it really has shifted for them and what really everybody saw.
Well, I keep getting this image, and it's the image of a painting, but it's so hot that it's starting to drip. It's like the paint is just dripping, and it's just it's almost like it's just paint. Under the surface, what we're seeing are, just colors, and how significant, of course, since both of those Justins were African Americans. That's going on. Let's take a look again at the paintings. Oh, look, you know that painting of like the man with the pitchfork and his wife. It's like American Gothic is the painting, right? And the painting, it's like, the epitome of America. This is who we are. It's like these serious farmer people, that's the painting that's just dripping. We're not those people anymore. America isn't that tapestry anymore. And, we keep trying to, if you watch, people keep trying to assert, this is a man and this is a woman. You can tell by their bones, and this is this and this is that. In sympathy, those people, this is just a world that's really hard for them to understand. That it's shifting so quickly that they can't find their balance. I mean, to their, to be sympathetic, it's just what a lawyer does. It's like you try to make things exactly clear. Life isn't like that, and America's not like that, and these people are fearing change. So the first thing that I want to just say is, American life is becoming unrecognizable, like the painting. It is becoming so different. Now, you and I, and many people will say, that's a good thing, okay? The old America was not necessarily the greatest place. It had great moments, but this is an overall shift that's occurring. And one thing that's good about Tennessee is we can see it so clearly. I mean, the two black guys get kicked out. The one white lady who did exactly the same thing doesn't, right? All of your recording, we can see these extremes. And the extremes that we see will help us navigate the truth, because some racism, some bigotry, some power structures are totally invisible to the average person. We don't know what goes on. We're busy, taking care of our lives. So, but in answer to your question, it's really interesting to watch the art just drip. Now it's like dripping out of the frame. And look, here's the thing. Now the canvas is blank. You and I and all of the viewers, now is our chance to paint a new painting, right? This is our America. We are the ones that are to decide what is going on in that painting. And you know, what's great about it is I see various people who didn't think that they were artists coming up and going, hey, I'm just a kid, but I'm going to give it a try. Or, you know, a lady who looks like she's mixed race going, I think I want to paint that. You know, all of you are going to do that. All of you are going to make your future and decide what you want it to be. This is an example of what you don't want to be, right? Of this, you know, power structure, talking behind closed doors. You know, why didn't they have that conversation in public if they're serving the public? But what will it change, I wonder, even in Tennessee? I mean, I don't think it's going to change it's not going to change that the fact that Republicans are in charge. They're going to be in charge in Tennessee, but they won't be so much in charge. So maybe it's, you know, 30-70, it'll move to, you know, 55-45. And that's a significant thing. It doesn't give them all the power anymore. It means, among other things, you know, you notice Republicans are starting to try to back off from some of their extremes. They're starting to go, well, okay, maybe abortion in some situations, because they know that this topic, women's reproductive rights, is not a winner for them. And so it's actually even causing the Republicans to start to back off a little bit on some of their extreme measures. So what will happen in Tennessee? A lot of change will happen. So again, I think that's a good thing, is that people will keep these guys, they're going to keep these guys honest. They're going to go, and you know, now we've seen it, that there's going to be people showing up. But the most significant thing here is the young people. You know, I hate to say it, but young people are that section of America that changes the vote. If young people always voted, there would never be a Republican, right? Because they often vote Democrat. They just are too busy. They're in college. I was in college working 3 jobs, you know, like I couldn't take a day off to vote, you know, it was just really hard. I only missed voting once, but, you know, I was moving that day. I just couldn't do it. So there's the young people coming forward is reason for a lot of optimism. It's not just Tennessee, it's also Wisconsin, but it's also going to be across the board that these young people are learning and they're stepping up. One thing that I think all of us should note is, if you have the chance to mentor a young person, do it, okay? They will take care of you in the future. If you have any way to impart your skills, whatever they are, to a young person, now is the time. Because, and I say young person, especially like 18-year-olds, people who are just coming into their power, that's going to be the real change that Tennessee represents. And it's not just money or voting. Those kids marched on their capital and they, you know, made their presence known, and they changed the trajectory of that building, right? The 2 Justins and the lady whose name happens to be Johnson, the 2 Justins and Johnson are now there with, you know, they're national heroes now. They can be present at every, you know, speech, and they can lead, you know, groups against this horrific gun violence that we are all experiencing. It's like we've lost rationality in America. Like everybody's trying to be rational. There's no rational reason why you need a machine gun, you know, in our society. It's like, it's nothing to do with hunting. It's nothing to do with protecting yourselves. So there's this rationality, which is totally irrational. And then there's this, nope, we are here. That's the reality. We are here yelling no. And, you know, if you want our vote, you need to change these things. I hate to say it, but sometimes a crisis needs to happen to get people out of their chairs.
Yeah,
Let's
I
see if there's,
agree. I agree.
yeah.
Well, it's an honorable mention. I know that you were sitting there talking about the changes. So there's an honorable mention about the House Speaker. The House Speaker of Tennessee, and I forget his name. Zachary, no. Anyway, somebody will remember his name. Anyways, the speaker in Tennessee, he did live in his district. He sold his house and he now lives in a different district. He actually lives in one of the Justin's districts. So he's one of his constituents.
Yes.
And he's been lying on all of his money thing, like he's been pretending like he lives here and and all of that. So all of that's going down in Tennessee too. So that was really exposed and elevated. And I guarantee you that those lawmakers, those Republican lawmakers, were not expecting to elevate these two men like they have. I bet you they are more shocked than anything else. They thought that they were going to smash them down, and yet they peeled them right up off of the floor.
And it's the same incompetent arrogance of MTG.
Yes.
You think you watched a video on TV, so you know everything. Now I'm an engineer, now I'm a doctor because I watched a video and I know how to be a politician. I know what the truth is. This, how stupid of you, just how dumb did you think things were? And no one has ever challenged these people in Tennessee.
Yeah,
there was never a possibility that anybody would challenge them.
Yeah, now they have the whole country challenging and watching and paying attention. Marjorie Taylor Greene, we're not going to do any remotes on her right now because she's just out there. She's out there. The guy who is it Jax Taxarina? I might be saying that wrong. The guy at the Pentagon who the documents. Okay, so now Marjorie Taylor Greene is like, why they arrest him? What do you know what I mean? He's a white boy. I'm sure he's doing wrong. You know what I mean? On her Twitter feed.
Yeah.
She's just having a cow. And this little 21-year-old is in some serious trouble. Right?
21-year-old Jack Teixeira was arraigned yesterday. He's the one allegedly responsible for leaking dozens of classified documents. Now, did he go through official whistleblower channels? Was he really concerned that the American people were being lied to? No, he was just trying to show off on Discord to his gamer friends. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy came out swinging against the Biden administration for failing to secure classified information, and he swears he's going to get to the bottom of it. But that is in stark contrast to the Congresswoman who he assigned to the Homeland Security Committee, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who thinks this guy is a hero. Jack Teixeira is a white male Christian and anti-war. That makes him an enemy to the Biden regime. Anti-war? Since when are Republicans anti-war? Like 5 minutes ago, they were all advocating war with Mexico.
We should be bombing the Mexican cartels.
To make certain Mexican drug cartels foreign terrorist organizations under U.S. law and set the stage to use military force if necessary to protect America from being poisoned by things coming out of Mexico.
We need to create a risk, and the only way you can do that is threat of death.
I think the real reason why Marjorie Taylor Greene and other right-wingers love this guy is because the leaks help Russia. And they are all for helping Russia. Not only that, but the Washington Post obtained video of Teixeira shouting racist and anti-Semitic slurs before firing a rifle. And we all know that's the quickest way to their heart. Also, real quick, Kevin McCarthy, if you are upset about this breach of classified information, you are going to be furious when you find out that Donald Trump ignored a subpoena to return classified information and then lied about it for like a year, to the point where then the FBI had to come in and retrieve it. I mean, seriously, do these guys just like roll a dice to figure out how to respond? There's no consistency to any of it, ever.
Serious
And
trouble.
so, yeah, that kind of leads me to you. I wanted to see what you see with him. Who's paying for him? Who's behind him? And we only have a few more to go. So
okay.
Who's paying for him? If you can kind of get in there and see where he's coming from, or what do you see?
Okay. So I do see him, and I think it's Taxera. I do see him take some money and put it in his pocket. Then he turns, and it's like Yellow Brick Road. It's like a road that goes somewhere, but he doesn't know where the end is. I'm just going to ask him, so was it about money that you did that? He says, no, it wasn't about money. He got some money somehow through this, just maybe. So was it money you got, or was it fame you got? He says fame is what he wanted. This is, again, he's a 20-year-old kid, and he's so naive that he thought he would get away with this, and that he did it just to impress his gamer friends. It's like it's like that arrogant Dungeons and Dragons kid who thinks he's really a dragon. No, there's this thing. But, this is the sad thing. And again, on a sympathy level, it was stone by stone, brick by brick. Now, the first thing that he did wasn't a big deal. And then the next thing, and then the next thing. And he was getting so much attention for this that he, went all the way. Nobody was there stopping him. So, were you getting any money? No. He does seem to be taking money, but I don't know why. I don't know if it's even connected to this. I think it's more about money. It's more like, I am a capitalist and capitalism is great, and I'm getting paid, to work for the government. I mean, that's where the money came from. You're in my taxes. So is there anything else you want to show me? He looks ashamed. He recognizes now how serious it is. His parents are like, trying to see him in the jail. Mom is in tears. She's like, you'll never get out of jail for the rest of your life. I'm never going to see you again except behind bars. And even then, they might not be able to see him. This is so serious that they would have every reason to put him in Guantanamo and never have anybody speak to him again, because he could divulge more secrets. Who knows what he's going to say to his mom? I don't know if they'll go that far, but his parents are very, very, very worried. And because he's had some contact with them, it's started to sink in. I may never, ever leave a jail again for the rest of my life. He's worried, very worried about how he will be treated in jail. There aren't that many people who are going to have sympathy for him. And here's this guy who has racist memes, outright racist, outright anti-Semitic memes, and he's going to be in prison with a bunch of minorities. So his goose is cooked. He's kind of hoping. He's kind of hoping for Guantanamo Bay. That would at least be safe. And it might be that serious that they can't keep him safe.
Or the government will employ him.
Yep. And he is just so dumb. I mean, that's just the thing. It's like, it's not the stupid that you're just born that way. It's the stupid that no one has ever questioned you. You don't have any character because no one has told you to have character. You can go to school and say racist things all day and no one will call you on it because that's the milieu you're in. Other people, most people couldn't have gotten away with that. And probably all of us got a little, smacked down at some point, like, that's kind of racist, Dave. You really shouldn't use XYZ words. And then you and I have thought about it and go, that isn't really okay. I shouldn't say Indians. They're not from India. That happened to me. But, he didn't go to college. So he didn't learn that. Again, I would encourage everybody to notice how symbolic this is. It's not just one person. It's a whole set of people who have never had to discuss things with others as equals. They've just taken it for granted that whatever they hear from the right is always true. And their egos were fed. MTG's ego has been fed by this sort of machine, the rage machine. And so as they move forward, they don't question the ethics of what they're doing or the consequences of what they're doing. They are symbolic of everyone who is that kind of conservative.
Right.
It's more important than just one or two people.
Right. I know that he's in jail right now, and I'm pretty sure that they're probably learning all of his tactics, how he did it, and he's probably teaching a few people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the government is going to use him to their advantage one way or another. And that's probably why MTG is more upset about it than most, is because now they're going to know how he did it.
Yep. And
that just came to me.
And I'm getting too. He's on suicide watch.
Well, he's probably, because I just feel like he is backed by somebody that it's like he was a plant. They knew what he could do and all of that, and he felt special, he felt big, he felt important to these people who planted him there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could argue that all of those guys who are conservatives and that are plants.
Yeah,
all of it, just from the culture, they put those guys in the president's security detail. I mean, you're not wrong. It's just a question of like how many plants are there and how direct is it, or just direct from Fox News.
So many. All right, so now we're moving back. We're going to go to New York, and now we have Jim Jordan versus Briggs. So Briggs has now sued Jim Jordan because Jim Jordan thinks he has a right to what Briggs is doing. And so I wanted to have you just kind of look briefly at that. Like,
do you mean Alvin Bragg?
Is it Briggs? Am I saying the wrong one? Of course I
think you said Briggs, which is...
Of course I'm saying the wrong name.
No worries. I whenever we do this work, by the way, everybody, like, nouns escape you when you're intuiting. It's like all of a sudden you're like, that guy, you know who I mean? Because you can't remember. It's a different way of thinking. It's not analytical. But Alvin Bragg, what do you want to know about? What do you want to know about Bragg? And
so Jim Jordan is all upset, and he's trying to oversee what Braggs does. Braggs now has turned face, and now he has suing Jim Jordan for doing that. And I wanted you to kind of take a brief look at that lawsuit or that situation.
It's a really funny image, you guys. And I just love these images that Spirit delivers because they say so much. So here's Bragg in an airplane. And you know how those airplane guys, they sometimes do those tricks where they do circles?
Yes.
They do take a biplane and they do a circle. Now that's supposed to be impossible. Okay. Nevertheless, people do it all the time. And it's like, here I am, Alvin Bragg, doing the impossible. Now, among other things, I need to apologize to Bragg because some years ago, I'm like, that idiot, how come he's not doing anything? He's been bribed. And I think this is an example of where he's like, keep quiet, let people think what they want, because then they're going to be surprised at what you do. Here's him going in a loop. And the other loop is Jordan took the bait and got himself into trouble. He can't interfere in an investigation of Bragg. That's against the law. It's against the law to stop the evidence from being revealed. It's not obstruction of evidence, but it's obstruction, right? So that's what we're getting. And Bragg's showing me the Constitution, and he's just like, this is the letter of the law. And, I actually was in law school, so they used to say black letter law. It's not a precedent. It's not just because we always do it that way, and that's one way to judge the law, like, this murder is the same as that murder, so we have the same rules. Black letter law is where it literally says, you cannot do that. And that's what he is. It even has like a little ribbon at the bottom. So he's like showing me like, this is the law that he broke. And, you know, Jordan, again, he was never a practicing attorney. He never passed the bar exam. So he doesn't know what he's doing. Bragg does know what he's doing. And it's kind of also like this, like, you thought you could put one over on the black guy, huh? Well, you think again. And he's almost like, you, Dave Johnson, I fooled you. It's like, okay, you win. Don't underestimate this fellow. He is keeping quiet. And all of these people who are blabbing are, in the long run, making a mistake. They think that by getting this media attention, they are going to win. But by doing this media attention stuff, they're giving away a lot of the hidden agendas that they have because they are so arrogant. And let's see what else is, because something's going on with Jordan. He's very mad. For some reason, he's wearing a striped tie, black and white striped. I don't know what that means yet. Light and dark. He's getting really mad, and he's like at a session of Congress. He's starting to get called out by the witnesses. And I keep waiting for the day when the witnesses go, are you guys ever going to legislate anything? You know, you've been looking at my tweets for 3 hours today and not legislating. So I see people pushing back, and it just gives the feeling of now the citizen is asking the questions, and he's lost control of the narrative. That's the key thing here. They've lost control. There isn't a narrative. There isn't something that, you know, they can claim anybody on the left did wrong. Anything else? Let's just see one more thing about Jordan. He has a crown on his head, and he takes it off and it goes to the ground, and it's like the crown has fallen. He's had his moment of power and he blew it. And regardless of whether he's not going to go to jail or anything, but he is going to be cowed to the point where maybe he can't run these, you know, sort of kangaroo interrogations anymore.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think when I look into that myself, I see Jim Jordan he's trying to herd cats right now, right?
Yeah.
And he just can't keep one kitty in the middle and is meant to be an important conversational. It's like he's trying to lob out so many things for the Republicans to start talking about. He can't keep it solid. He can't keep anything. Yeah. I see it too. All right, so here's the last one.
All right.
So there's this guy who's called Anonymous. He's on TikTok. Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's on TikTok, Anonymous, and Anonymous is a computer geek that hacks everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's come on, he goes, the GOP says, you know, trans rights is human rights and stuff like that. He's on TikTok. And I don't know if he has a YouTube channel or not, but he might. Anyways, Anonymous. So Anonymous has come up with a lot of stuff. I mean, he has this one bin. Here's some information about it.
Anonymous, another leak. Watch this.
Remember, human rights and civil rights are not negotiable.
Anonymous leaked more today. Who were their subjects? Ginny, Bobo, and the combination of Beavis and Butthead. They got Gates right here. Take note of this sentence here. We are not stopping until we take the GOP down. Bobert and Clarence were added in. And here is the Matt Gates. Yes, I am intentionally covering a lot of this up. Here's Ginny stuff. Oh yeah, they got VIN numbers on cars and everything. And when someone said, hurry up because we're hanging by a thread here, this is their response. If that's the public stuff, what are they doing behind the scenes? They're just getting started, and I wonder what tomorrow will bring.
Just saying, I'm here for every leak that's happening. If you haven't been to the dark bin yet, go. And this is part 1. They did another leak today, and I'm gonna post it in a second. I know you're ready for part 2. I know you are. Anonymous leaking all types of shit on the trash that is the GOP.
This is Operation GOP. A war, and we are here to expose your hatred, lies, hypocrisy, and ignorance.
Love them.
We have another treat today.
I love treats.
For a special message. So some more has been leaked about Bobo,
Oh, there.
and this is very interesting. Now, many of you may say these are just email accounts. Why is that important? But these Yandex.ru, those are Russian accounts.
What?
Russian email accounts. Someone may want to check that out. And yeah, this happened today.
I'm jealous. Follow me, Anonymous.
They want us to keep spreading the word. But Anonymous also has a special message for us. Pause to read this. They want us to know that they hear us. They're asking us to screenshot and save everything on their accounts because they are getting reported. Treat every update as time sensitive. Everyone, they are watching and they hear us. Thank you.
So y'all heard what Anonymous needs us to do. They need us to save every video that they post and repost it because they are being mass reported. Now we know why they want TikTok down so bad. Stay left, stay triggered.
Come up with, okay?
Whoa.
So Anonymous, nobody knows who Anonymous is, and I'm not sure I want to read and find out who he is or who she is. But I want you to kind of get in there and just see what really have they found, right?
I don't know if this is just representative of the person, and I'm not going to give away the identity. But when you said that, I saw, again, a mixed racial woman who is pissed. And it's one of those things like, I am the warrior of justice, right? But tell me your question again, because she made an impression on me. I couldn't skip.
As Anonymous, you mean? As the person is Anonymous? Yeah, we know it is a person of color. Like, we know that this person is possibly mixed or black. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's one thing we do know. But Anonymous, what have they really uncovered? Because all of a sudden TikTok is banned in Minnesota now. You know what I mean? They're going, oh crap.
So, okay, see this person, and they're at this kind of funny old school typewriter. So why are you at a typewriter? And she goes, oh, just wait and see. And she's typed something out, and it's like press report. And then it's kind of like, let's see how that one works. Oh, press report. So one thing that's really important to know is they have a lot of information and they will release it at their leisure. So it might even be that they have tons and tons of stuff and they're just waiting for the right moment, you know, the day Trump is indicted or the day the Republican convention starts or the day, and that gives them all the power, right? Because we don't necessarily know who the Republican nominee will be. So on the day they choose a Republican nominee, they can be like, okay, Ron DeSantis, here's him in drag. Ron DeSantis, here's him with, 200, billion Russian dollars going in his mouth, whatever it is. It's interesting because, conservatives were rich and powerful enough to get technically inside the system and rig it. So they rigged Facebook by pulling out of this information and then knowing and sending it to the Russians and stuff like that. They, didn't understand the technology, but they had enough money to buy those people. Well, there's all these other technologists who aren't bought, who are righteous. They are like, this is wrong and that's anonymous and good for them. And they are in the resurgence right now. They are rising because the people that were just paid off, if you look at stories about Cambridge Analytica, they regret it. And they've said, I didn't think about it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was politically ambitious and I was 22 and I was stupid. These people are people who have had life experiences where they've been discriminated against, where they've been treated badly, where they, see the effects of these policies on the average person, and they don't care about money. They care about justice, and they care about doing the right thing. And it's interesting, like, how much power they have. And keep in mind that it is frightening the right. So one useful thing to notice is that the right is starting to not know what they should do. It's more useful for Anonymous to have this information and not share it right now than it is for them to just throw it all out there. Because people, among other things, need to take in a piece of information and go, oh my God, what does that mean? Here's that recording of about the Justins and Johnson. What does that mean? And then a little bit more time, and then it's like, oh my God, more information.
Can you see anything that they're going to release? Can you look and see what they got?
Well, I'm seeing something with Bragg again. I wonder if some of the things that Bragg knows, they have information about. Now, Bragg cannot release that information. It would be against the law, but Anonymous can. And it could be, two different sources of the same information. So when I was seeing Bragg with that piece of paper and there's a sort of almost a blue ribbon at the bottom, I'm seeing them pointing to that. Blue ribbon information, but are you guys, so is it about Stormy Daniels? She's nodding, she's like, and she's like, there's nothing stopping me from contacting Anonymous and telling him what I know. I can send him something. That's not against law. So starting with that case alone, which is the minor case, they have information. But they have information about many of the things that Trump has done. And it's just a question of time before they release it. It might be that they will not release it until the trial has begun, because the jury will have been selected, right? And once the jury is selected, they're supposed to not notice anything that's going on, right? When they select a jury, they don't want them to be biased. So they'll say, oh, did you see that anonymous article? Well, if there's no article, they can say no. But once they're in there, somebody's going to go, oh my God, there's this article. They are smart and they are in the ascendant and they know everything. They know everything about all of the conservatives. They broke into Hillary's email. They broke in. And the Republicans, when they did that, they opened a Pandora's box. It's like, well, if we're going to look at Hillary's emails, we got Lindsey Graham's, we got all of your emails, and it's not that hard to break in. Expect more from Anonymous and expect that they're a lot smarter than Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh, yeah. They got them all. They have a whole list of all of these people that they have done for sure.
Yeah. I mean, can Marjorie Taylor Greene, can she even download something? I have trouble. Since I'm no spring chicken. I need a young person to help me.
She can't Google, apparently.
Right.
Apparently.
So imagine her trying to keep these secrets. She's going to be like, can you get a 16-year-old in here to tell me how this works?
Exactly.
It's not working. They're in trouble.
They are in a lot of trouble with Anonymous. I'm very excited about Anonymous. At first, I didn't believe what Anonymous was until I started watching it, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, they're like Bragg. They're in the background, and you'll never know who they are.
That's awesome.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, we have something on our side at least. Well, we know that we do have the intelligent side, and that's not being so overly condescending, but we also know that on the Democratic side, for some reason, we're the ones that have gone to school and intelligent and higher thinking and critical thinking. You know what I mean? You have critical thinking skills, but so
yeah.
Well,
We're also,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, we're the ones that are accepting change, right? And it is difficult, left or right. It's difficult to live in this world of change. So, give yourself a pat on the back. It's not easy doing what we are doing, all of us collectively right now. But, we are at least moving forward. We're talking to each other. She and I come from a totally different background, but we could talk to each other. We could even disagree, but I'm going to listen to her and she's going to listen to me. That's the difference on the left, I think.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think that's what the thing is we see both opinions as being beautiful.
Right.
We see them as being okay for both, right? Like your opinion and my opinion. Well, yeah, we can see the middle ground on all of that. And so that's the hardest part to watch, them just completely and totally lie about everything and then disregard a human being. And it just astonishes me. Marjorie Taylor Greene is a head honcho and all of that. And I did hear a rumor, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I did see a rumor that there's like a whole bunch of lawmakers on the House side, the Republican House side, that have signed like a petition or something like that to have McCarthy do something about Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're not as happy with MTG as she thinks everybody is. I mean, they're really getting sick of her. I mean, she has gotten the gavel. She has acted as speaker a few times, and she's just getting really hoity-toity there. And there are these lawmakers that have been there for years and years and years that deserve that honor. But no, she has buddied up with McCarthy. Some people say that they're in bed, and some people don't. I think that they are.
Oh my gosh, really?
I know.
That's
salacious. But I mean, that's just me playing gossip, thinking, that looks a little suspicious. I see something there. So she's taken, she's held the gavel, which lawmakers that have been there for years and years deserve that honor. But she's just jumped in. She's jumped ahead of the line, so she feels emboldened to be as disgusting and as bold as I just can't. I don't have enough words coming out of my mouth to describe her anymore.
Literally or figuratively, they are in bed with each other.
Yes.
And there are consequences to that, right? There are, STDs that are going to be spread. It's just there are consequences to that. And it is corrupt. And man, can you imagine if you're a senator, even a Republican senator, and you have to share the bathroom with Briggs, and you find out that he led those people that made you had to run for your life.
Correct.
Imagine how just unbelievably angry you would be. I would be at him making a fool out of me, it caused them to lose elections. It's horribly tainted your reputation. It's just.
The fact that they took off all of those other lawmakers on the Democratic side, they kicked out a few of them because, to punish them, but they left in Raskin and Raskin has been giving them hell.
Yeah. Good for Jamie. I love Jamie Raskin. Right. He's one of the people I want to be president.
Exactly. He is not holding back. And there's a few other lawmakers that are I think there's one from Florida, actually, the Gen Z from Florida. Oh my gosh. I think there's another one from, I can't remember where he's at. But anyways, they're just taking him on. They have taken off the gloves. I'm like, we don't care. We're going to say what we want now.
They finally got some gumption. I mean, the Dems are always being, they're so nice and not listening to everybody, but they finally got the gumption back.
Yeah. That's what we want them to do, is to fight back and push back. That's the one thing that we want. There's one thing also, and we're going to end with this. There's one thing that I have noticed. They need to, in my own humble opinion, is to stop using big words. And this is why. This sounds awful. But Republicans don't understand big words. That's the reason why the Republicans are speaking at an 8th and 9th grade level. Have you noticed that? I'm like, this is something I heard in high school. Why is it? Because they're using the same words as I would use in high school, and not somebody who has been to college and who can have, you know, longer, bigger words and know the meaning of them. They need to dumb it down a little so that we can start capturing a few, or maybe hopefully in understanding a few of the Republicans when they hear them talk, because I think they lose them.
Yeah.
You know, in the intelligent speaking, they don't understand. It's like listening to a lawyer in a case. They're speaking lawyer. I get lost. I'm like, I don't know what he said, but I hope it was good. You know what I mean?
Well, it's the nature of a media today.
Yeah.
You just have 2 seconds to make your point. So MAGA is, you don't even need to explain what that means because it's emotional.
Yes.
Right? So I'm afraid the Dems got to get emotional.
Exactly. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I know this is a little bit of a long video, and we will see him next month, and he will give us a channeling message. I know he will. We'll start with that maybe. But so anyways, thank you. If you made it this far, thank you so much. And thank you, David, for always being here.
Love you guys.
I think we've been doing this for almost 2 years, haven't we?
We have.
Like,
good for you, Sheila.
Yeah, for a while. One of these days, I want to get to Australia. I swear it.
Sooner the better.
I want to go.
Sooner the better.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.